Are you facing a serious battle with formidable opponents just like Goliath was? Are you feeling small, maybe weak or useless? You know what it's like to feel like David. And there are 5 stones you can use to defeat your enemies in your life. 5 actions, 5 attitudes that are just waiting for you. And that's all it'll take. I'm sure that David, like you too, did not need a huge army or even the top of the line or the best weapons designed by man. But even all that, a soldier might be required to wear to keep him safe. You need any of that. My name is Jim Wallace. I'm on staff at Crossroads International Church, and this morning I want to remind you that just what you need and just what you have already at your fingertips is a whole lot of faith in an awesome God to face down the giants in your life. Last week we introduced this topic. Today I want to address the 3 stones that David pulled from the brook to defeat Goliath. What stone do you need? Let's get right into it. So the first stone I want to talk about today is commitment. David was all in from the beginning, wasn't he? He didn't hesitate to help his father or his brothers or even the army. Once he knew the situation, heard Goliath's insults and his jeering and his trash talking, he was committed to do whatever he could do to defend the Lord and his people. Defeating your giant must begin with a determined dedication to something, like training for a sport. To be very accomplished, you got to run, you got to drill, you got to practice, and you got to do that nearly every day. And why? To be the best you can be. And Jesus offered this in commitment. He said this: anyone who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is not for the kingdom of God. What Jesus is saying there, when you're plowing a field, if you ever get down to Lancaster County and you watch them plow rudimentary with horses, you're noticing you're not looking backwards, you're looking forwards, and they're helping the horse go the right direction, and they're keeping the plow going straight. And that's what Jesus is saying. You got to put your hand on the plow and keep going forward. And it's not just talking about it, and it's not whining or complaining about it, but it's actually being faithful and taking action. Paul wrote this to his young friend Timothy: I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. It's about the marathon here. This is not about the sprint. Action does not always include a physical or verbal confrontation, as I've also used a lot here in my analogies, but it means facing down your problem directly and head on, and commitment to face it down. The second stone I want to talk about today is courage. And no one accused David of lacking courage, and he had much in that department, didn't he? In fact, one of his older brothers thought he was being a little cocky. If you go back and read that section of the story I read last week, but courage is not an absence of fear, but rather the ability to act despite fear, the ability to overcome fear. And remember that God will always be bigger than your problem, no matter how difficult it might be or how big that problem might be. He's always going to be bigger. Don't allow yourself to make the problem bigger to God, as that mindset is a lie. And that's not from you, but from the enemy who wants to steal and destroy your life. And he certainly wants to take your courage away. Why? Because it's the one resource that makes you the most effective in God, and that's faith. So if he's trying to lie to you and tell your problem's bigger, he's trying to make you less effective. It doesn't change what God can do. It just erodes your faith. Are you willing to step out bravely and confront the giant in your life? Let your faith be bigger than your fear. And the last stone I want to talk about this week is communications. David didn't just fight with stones. He used his words. He exposed the lies and the insults of Goliath, and he confronted them with the truth. He fought not only in the strength of the Lord, but also in the name of the Lord. One of the best ways to defeat the enemy is communicate God's truth first to yourself and then to your giant. Jesus said this: but if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you can ask anything you want and it will be granted. You see what I'm talking about here? It's about communications with God. It's about hanging out with God. It's about abiding in me, as the King James version uses. Abiding me means to stay in direct contact with God. And doing that act of communication, Jesus promises God will remain in you and provide you the access to the best for you that you could ever be. I don't know what your giants are intimidating or threatening you today, But I knew God is giving you 5 smooth stones to go out and face them each and every day and each and every week. And although we've covered these 3 stones this week, next week we're going to finish this look at David and Goliath and look at the last 2 stones, capability and confidence. And I hope you can join me there. Remember, if you took 1 stone to bring down your problem, like David and Goliath, that's all it's going to take is 1 stone. And it happens to be one of these 5 stones. Please add your thoughts and comments below in the discussion. I'd love to hear from you. People on our staff are waiting if you need to talk. You can call the office, or you can text me, you can instant message me if you have a need, and we can start addressing it. And I hope to see you next week. And I thank you so much for joining me each and every Monday. Blessings. Take care.